G'day, welcome back to Flat Tag Journey. My name's Chris, welcome to my shed. It's just clean up mode here for me at the minute. The Torpedo has gone for a sleepover in Geelong, about an hour away from me, and is going to the sign riders to have the tank redone at some stage. That could be, I don't know, it could be 3 or 4 weeks. You got to get in the queue with people. You just can't jump the queue and get what you want when you want it. It doesn't work that way. So it's gone for a little while. I've got a friend's 124cc Jalera here for a little stay. It's been at an auto electrician's working out why it wouldn't spark. But sadly, I don't own it. I'd like to. And Terry, when you're ready to sell it, you know who wants it. So it's come for a little sleepover at my place. And this week, really, I got over the disaster of last week, and yeah, it's all right. It's all good. To the people who noticed I was a bit sad, yeah, I was. It was real life, though. You make a mistake, you're sad, you build a bridge, get over it. So I moved on to the headlight, and I've had a good week. It come out really well. There wasn't a lot of work in it, but it made an interesting little video. I've just edited up the footage and now making a top and a tail. But I noticed I never explained where I got the brackets from. The brackets are actually reproduction vintage mirror brackets that I had one, and then I bought another one. And sadly, there's obviously a bit of footage missing or something. Don't really know why, but I meant to explain it. Anyway, hoof in, have a look at the video. Hope you enjoy it. In a very frustrating turn of events, I've lost the fuel tap for the Torpedo, and I'm in the process of turning the shed over and looking for it. So if you saw where I put it, give me a yell. I've moved on though. For those who follow me on Facebook, I've got a little carbide canister and I've got a headlight. Now they actually photographed a lot better than they are. They're in really poor condition, especially the canister. And if I had another one, I'd use it, but I don't. The internals of it are actually hacked apart when I got it. And it was dented and it's got splits in it. And I JB welded the inside of it. Actually did it this time, I'm not just joking, to hold it together. I polished it. And look, all I did was use a buffing wheel. So I started with a sisal mop on a bench grinder and a pretty coarse abrasive, and then went over it. And you've got to be really careful when you're doing it. I'll do another one in a few weeks and show you, because the mop will grab it and fling it across the room or fling it back at you, which is worse because you can replace these, but if you slice yourself, you can do yourself a lot of mischief. So then I got a soft mop, which is just piece of fabric on a wheel, and used a fine polish and gave them a really good going over. They're still really, really rough, and when you look really closely, you can see the dents and you can see the brass through it, and it's not in great nick. So that one's a bit rough. Headlights a bit better, and I got these with the bike. I wouldn't say they were original to the bike, but they're the right size. They're the smaller ones. So here's the headlight, and you can see that's polished right through. The nickel on it is really thin. Now there's a little badge missing off the top. The reflector in the back, I'm not sure you'll see that, is broken. But the rest of it is there. It's actually not bad. It's been silver soldered together up on the little peak, like a peak on a cap, that goes with it. So it's not too bad. And it's going to look okay on the bike. I wouldn't bother re-nickeling something like this. I'd want perfect ones if I was going to put them through nickel plating. When I was at the electroplaters the other day, there was one there off a Harley Davidson, early Harley 16, 17, something like that, I forget. And it was mint, but there wasn't a dent in it. You'd have to get a very talented metal worker to get all the dents out. The headlight might be worth it, I don't know. Oh, that big gash across the bottom. You'd have to have a really good one to start with, and it'd have to be really, really worth it, because I think you'd pay very heavy. Anyway, onto the Torpedo. So on the Torpedo, there's no mounts for the headlight off the front forks, because sometimes they're in the front forks. So it probably mounted forward and aft on a little set of brackets that sat on the handlebars. And it would have been aftermarket, I reckon. No, I don't have any. And when I get back to going to swap meets, I will try and find a set. I don't know that they're overly complicated. I will try and find a set, but in the short term, to make everything look cute, and that's what I do. And to avoid the frustration of looking for a fuel tap. So annoying. I made a little set of brackets. Now I've just cut them down again because I had them way too long. I don't know what I was thinking. So they need a repaint, and they're a bit knocked around at the minute, but that's what fitting and test fitting and that is all about. I should never have painted them to begin with. And I will learn a lesson about test fitting and doing all that eventually. And you saw last week's episode with the tank, and I've learned to live with it actually. I've got no idea, so bear with me on that. Could take 3, 4, 5 weeks to sort that out. But in the meantime, love the bike, looks super. Come into the bench and have a look at what I've been up to. So here's the brackets. Here's the mounting brackets, and here's the brackets, if you like. They're relatively simple, and yes, they've got a modern vibe to them, and I wish they didn't, because they're very much front and centre. But in the short term, they get the headlight out of the drawer where it's been stored, and they get the headlight and the canister up on the bike, and they don't get knocked around anymore. They're difficult to come by, nice canisters and nice headlights. They're always knocked around. So I'm going to get this together and then I'll show you. Now, fiddly as hell to get it all together as a one-man band. But once you get it bolted together, it can't fall off, and that'll be a bonus, because now I'm working over a painted front guard. Right, so at this point, really nothing can go anywhere. It can't fall off, which is a big relief. Now, the canister. Don't put spring washers in your mouth like I do. It's a bad habit. Now, because I used a flat disc, an abrasive disc, and cut a flat on that round bar, it lets everything sort of go together, and you end up with something that vaguely resembles that. I'm going to push on. I'm going to tighten up these brackets that are on the handlebars and get them located centrally, and then I will bring you off the tripod and in and show you how the whole thing looks. Hopefully you like it. In the absence of being able to do what you want, sometimes you do what you can. So mounting up this little headlight has distracted me from the tank and distracted me from no fuel tap, but it is somewhere in my shed. And this is what I've come up with. I didn't bother getting these things nickel plated because I'm not going to keep them. I think they're going to go. I would rather them to look more original. But anyway, this is how it sits. And it probably needs some squaring up. It clamps to the handlebars really well. The black doesn't appeal to me, but it does the job. Nothing goes anywhere. The headlight's sitting nice and close, and the canister a little further away. It needs a little piece of orange pipe to go from here down under the headlight down to here. Now you can see the headlight's really worn, probably because everybody touched it. or that was the bit that got hot, because that's the air vent. I should have said to people understand how these things work. So a powder in here, I think, and water in the top, and an adjuster screw that the water dripped through made a gas that comes up and flows out and into the headlamp. And in the headlamp, you lit it, flame. So air vents at the top and air vents at the bottom, and the flame reflected off a mirror. Now this one's broken in the back, and you got, I'm going to say candlelight. So you got candlelight to ride at night by. Now, I ain't riding this thing at night, just positively dangerous. And very fancy ones had a tube that ran to a tail light. And I've got some really rough tail lights here somewhere. So let me walk around. That's what it looks like. It's away from your legs to a great degree. It's more or less in the middle. Got some truing up to do maybe. And I feel as though it looks period correct. Now these, to the purist, they're obviously wrong. And that's okay. And anybody who comments on them will get, yeah, I know they're wrong. Have you got an original set you'd like to sell me? Doesn't matter. Looks good. I'm happy with it. So there you go. That's how I attempted to just put the headlamp on. Now, I had one of the brackets, so that was okay. And the other one cost me $22. I had the steel, I had the paint, and the headlamp and the canister came with the bike. I tapped the canister a little bit over the anvil to get some dints out, and then I polished the best I could. They're 100 years old, and they look 100 years old, but I'm really happy with it. There you go. That's Flat Tank Journey for another week. I had a good time. It might be a few weeks until I've got another video while I wait for the bike to come back from the sign riders. Just getting in the queue, that's what it's about. The headlight bracket and putting the headlight together with the canister and making it look pretty good was a great little project that distracted me from the disaster of the week before, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. It came out well. I'm on to do some other jobs. The smoke got out of my angle grinder that's on my bike starter as I tried to start a 650 Suzuki for a friend. It did start, but the angle grinder didn't like it. Anyway, I'll get that repaired. Have a great weekend. Enjoy life. Cheers.